Hello, I'm Robert, and welcome to my video series. I wanted to do this series to showcase and feature some of the places that I like to go out to eat and drink at in my town of Babylon Village. And so I think I'm going to call this series The Best of Babylon. And so I like to eat out a lot with my wife. You know, we go out and eat all the time and drink and stuff like that, go out and be social. And obviously with COVID, that's been tough lately, but we still try. And one of the big things for me is I love going out to get breakfast. And so where do you go when you want to get breakfast in Babylon Village, New York, Long Island? Well, you go to Glen's Dinette. This place is more of an institution than a restaurant. It's been here for many, many, many years. It's one of those places that everybody knows about. There's usually a line out the door to get in, and it's fantastic food. So Glen's Dinette. So here I am, I'm walking up to the front of the place, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna talk to Happy, the owner, and we're gonna talk about what makes Glen's so special. All right, let's go inside. So now I'm sitting down with Happy. Now, your first name's Happy, spelled H-A-P-I, and your last name's Hour.
A-U-E-R.
A-U-E-R, that's amazing. So your name's Happy Hour.
Happy hour. It's a lot of fun.
How did that come about?
Yeah, my mom gave me that on the way home, she said.
Okay, I dig it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good way to start this whole thing. So tell me a little bit about yourself and
Myself? Well, it's kind of, I've been here for 30 years at Glen's Dinette.
Okay.
With my wife, Chrissy.
Uh-huh.
And it's been so amazingly fast, and it's been such a long time.
Yeah.
It's
3 decades.
yeah, it's great, and we plan on being here a lot longer.
Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
I certainly hope that's the case. So yeah, I've been coming here myself about 30 years, give or take, since the late 80s. I lived in West Babylon, West Islip, and found this place, and started coming here then. So how did you start out? Did you just buy the place? Did you start out?
Oh, I bought it. I purchased the store. Yeah.
Okay.
From a man named Tom Nuzzi, and he owned it. I was 24 at the time. I was going to culinary school
Okay.
at the time, MYIT.
Okay.
And I remember sitting down with the dean at the school, Dean Brown. My idea was to go to school at night and run the luncheonette during the day.
Okay.
And Dean Brown said, absolutely not. He said, you will go and run that restaurant, and when you find time to come back to school, he says, you let me know.
Wow.
Well, he was right.
Wow. Okay.
And I paid a visit back to see him about 5 or 6 years later. And I saw Dean Brown, and I said, I think I'd like to come back and maybe take some classes at night again. And he said, no. He said, but what we would like you to do is come teach some classes at night, perhaps.
Oh, that's cool.
I ended up turning that down, and I was just terrified, actually, to do something of that nature. I was just too young.
Okay.
And but it was a lot of fun. He was a very nice man, and pointed me in the right direction.
Good.
It's very good. It's
That's
very
cool.
nice. Yeah.
So you jumped in with both feet then?
With both feet.
Yeah. And you started out cooking, because I remember you always being on the grill.
Oh, yes. I cooked on the grill for at least, approximately about 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do still occasionally, and the guys, they need days off and things of that nature, but we have a great crew.
You do have a great crew.
Really good crew.
Yeah.
And it's really, they're a pleasure to work with.
Cool.
And a lot of guys here have been here for multiple years, anywhere from 10 to 20 years. So they're really nice.
Cool. Yeah, I've seen that you have a lot of people that have been here a long time.
Long time.
Which is good. That says a lot about you and about the establishment.
Oh, thank you.
And customers as well.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you live locally?
We do.
Yeah.
We're about a 4-minute walk from here.
Perfect. That's great. Makes the commute easy.
We love Babylon Village. I grew up here.
You did?
I did.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm a townie. I consider myself a townie.
Great.
Great. I love living in town.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I grew up on the North Shore in Stony Brook, but like I said, I've been living down on the South Shore since either 88 or 89, I can't quite remember. So I've been down here a while, and I dig the South Shore. It's definitely a different vibe than the North, and I like being near the water. And there's more of a downtown vibe here.
Oh, and things have definitely changed.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
Speaking of changes, what kind of changes have you seen? Just in general around here?
Well, the downtown is much more vibrant today than it was when we originally came along. I think people appreciate it more today, whereas back in the 80s, people were more going to the malls and the large shopping centers, and now it seems like the villages are in a bit of I call it a renaissance, where people are coming back to the downtown area. They like that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and around
great.
here, it's really nice. I mean, there's plenty of restaurants in Babylon Village and local stores and shops, and it's not too big and it's not too small.
I agree. It's a good size. There's always been cool stuff here, but I agree that it's definitely kind of come into its own, so to speak, which is great. And speaking of changes, if I recall correctly, when I first started coming here, this part of the restaurant didn't exist. This was not part of the original thing, because I remember just being in there, in the other space.
Yes.
So when did you bust over to here?
In 2000, there used to be a vacuum store here.
That's right. Vacuum store.
We added the dining room in 2000.
Okay.
And that worked out well. It worked out really well.
Good.
Yeah. And so many families come in here. And over the years, 30 years, I've seen so many kids come in with their parents, and now some of those kids are coming in with their kids.
Yeah. Which is amazing to have a legacy like that.
It's just wonderful. And it never seems to end either. You know what I mean? It's a constant rollover. But it's the kind of place where you can come with your, a dad can come with his son or his daughter and sit at the counter, or a mom can come with the kids and they can sit at the counter or get a booth, and it really is a come home feeling. Also, when speaking of coming home, when the kids come home from college, I often hear the parents say how the kids, instead of going home first, they want to come to Glen's first, because they want to get an Idaho or...
You can't get a better endorsement than that.
or pancakes or something, and that's really nice. It's
awesome.
It's a great feeling.
That's great. That's great. I brought my niece and nephew here when they were, I think, like 6 and 8 years old, and they loved it.
Oh, good.
They had been to diners and stuff like that, but this place has such a personal feel and such a hometown kind of thing that they loved it. I can't wait to come back.
Great.
So yeah, speaking of families, did you meet Chrissy here?
No, Chrissy and I met out at the Fox Hill Golf and Country Club, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In Baiting Hollow.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was a sous chef there at the time, and Chrissy came on for a summer job, and we met there, and we've worked together pretty much ever since.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. And you have a little boy, if I recall?
My little boy is a little taller than I am.
I bet he is. I haven't seen him in a while.
He's soon to be 17, and he's such a nice guy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember he had the curliest blonde hair.
Yeah.
Does he still have the curls?
No, wavy hair, but he has a full head of hair.
He's 17 now.
He'll be he's almost 17.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's a sweetheart. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm sure he is. All right. So, any more of the background you want to share on how this place started out? I mean, it had to be intimidating, I guess.
Well, the store, the original store, has been here a very long time. I mean, it's Glen's Dinette opened in 1948.
Okay.
And it was opened by a man named Glendetti. And that was his last name was Glendetti, and they shortened it to Glen's.
Okay.
And him and his wife and a partner, they ran the store 24 hours a day.
Wow.
Back then.
Okay.
And there were many local diners and luncheonettes. It wasn't unusual to have a lunch counter place in your town, or multiple lunch counters in your village or town. And it survived. And when I was a kid, when I was growing up here in Babylon Village, I remember Glen's Dinette. You'd come here and you get here early in the morning. If you came early enough, all the clammers would be in here.
Oh yeah.
It was all mud and boots, is what I used to say. And you'd come in, and a lot of the old timers and the regulars would come, and it was really unique. Well, Glen's Dinette survived somehow, and when I say a renaissance, I mean, a lot of people, franchises came out. You know, we're
Sure.
surrounded, outside of Babylon Village, we're surrounded by many franchises, restaurants, and, you know, you can throw a ball without hitting one.
Yeah.
And so it became less and less popular to have a lunch counter type place. And now there's very few.
Yeah.
So we've like come in, you know, we've really become a niche place. You know, there's not many of these that are especially original.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I know we added the dining room in 2000, but if you come in and you put your elbows on that counter, you're putting your elbows on the same spots that 70 years ago somebody else did. You know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a cool legacy. You know, it's you know, there's a number of other towns on Long Island, you know, like Bayshore nearby, and other places that are also experiencing a bit of a renaissance.
Yes.
But if I recall, there really aren't too many places quite like Glen's. You know.
And it's, as far as the you know, and the food, you keep it simple. You know, I had a growing up, I had an uncle. He was a French-speaking Swede, and he was a corporate chef in the city. And he said to me, he said, if you want to go into the restaurant business, he said, serve breakfast and keep it simple. And he was right. And he hash and eggs.
Mm-hmm.
You make a few things really well, and people will come back for it. And he was right.
That is the formula for success. All right, so the food, the Idaho, that's your signature dish?
That's one of our signature
One of yours,
dishes.
okay.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed it, and these days I usually try to only eat half of it and take the rest home and enjoy that later. How did that come about? Was that a secret family recipe kind of thing?
No, it came from an employee, actually.
Okay.
A gentleman named Michael, and he's a really nice guy. And he was cooking for me once, and him and his buddies, they would, once a year, they would get on a plane and they would fly to another city where the Jets were playing, the football team, the Jets.
Uh-huh.
And him and his friends, they flew out to Denver, and they went to a local place, and he reported back to work a few days later, and he said, I went to this bar and they were serving something, and it was called the Denver or the something. And he said, maybe it was the Idaho. And I said, oh, the Idaho. And he said, yes, it's basically like your home fries. And we came up with this idea, and we from the best of his memory and their weekend, and we put it together, and we put eggs on top of it and called it the Idaho. And boy, we just couldn't make enough of them ever since. It's just been great, you know, and it's really a fan favorite, yeah.
It is. It's delicious. I can attest to that. I've eaten many, many of those.
And the other, one of the other great staples here is the corned beef hash.
Yes, of course.
Corned beef hash and eggs. We trim and cook all our own corned beefs, and we have our recipe. The guys, they make it. It's very consistent, and people love it. It's a very simple dish, corned beef hash, but we may happen to make it very well. And people say they're ruined after they have it here. They can't quite have it anywhere else. So it's pretty nice. So that's a really signature dish that is, again, a simple dish, but yet there's a bit of work involved in producing it. So you don't really get it many places.
Gotcha. It is good. I've tried it, and it is delicious. And my friend Doug, who's a regular, he usually sits right on the end of the counter there. He gets that almost every time.
Every time.
Every time, yeah. And same thing for 30 years. He lives up the road. He's been coming here for forever. So him and his wife, they come here all the time. So that's cool.
It's nice.
And everything else, I mean, pancakes are delicious here. The Blue Monkey?
The Blue Monkeys.
Blue Monkey?
They're fun. That was an item that was on the menu when I arrived here.
Oh, okay.
It's a buttermilk pancakes with blueberries and bananas. We call them the Blue Monkeys. Kids and adults love them just the same.
Yeah.
And then we make, of course, the smiley face pancake, which the kids absolutely love. They can have chocolate chips or blueberries and bananas or walnuts or anything they want in the pancakes, and they just love it.
It's cool. And I certainly favor breakfast here, but I've gotten lunch more than a few times, and you guys have fantastic burgers.
Oh, thank you.
Really good burgers, and everything I've ever had here has been good. But the burgers especially, it's just a good, simple diner burger. You know?
It's a Black Angus burgers. We use Black Angus beef, and now we serve it on a brioche bun.
Mm-hmm.
I source all of our breads, our Marble Rye, our 7-grain whole wheat, our country white, and the brioche white bread. I source that from a bakery in Harlem.
Oh wow!
And they deliver out here on the island every day.
Wow!
And it's a real bakery. You know, they're using yeast risen breads, and there's no preservatives or anything phony, anything to extend shelf life. So the breads are extremely high quality, and I get my brioche buns for the burgers from them.
Cool.
As well, and it's really stepped up the burgers.
Right on.
Yeah, it's nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
What is my favorite thing? Well, that's a great question. My favorite thing to cook is what the customer really wants. When somebody comes back to me and says that's the best breakfast they've ever had, or the omelet, or even a fluffy scrambled egg, something as simple as that, that's my favorite thing to cook. When I can make a customer really happy with what they want, that's my favorite item to cook.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool. What kind of changes have you seen happen with COVID?
COVID. Well, this is an interesting situation.
Sure is.
This is an interesting path we've taken.
I just figure we'll get right to the current stuff. What's happening now?
Well, we didn't see that coming.
True enough.
Right. Yeah. COVID is definitely you had to think on the fly. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It was and it still is. I mean, changing day. You know, it's forever changing. You know, that was a interruption in everybody's lives.
Yeah.
You know, it was a difficult situation, and you know, it affected people here on Long Island greatly.
Absolutely.
We were definitely one of the hottest spots in the country, and what a sad situation.
Yeah.
But hopefully, you know, we're hopeful. You know, Chrissy and I feel very confident that for us, we're coming back. You know, we were fortunate in that we've been in business for 30 years. We've been around. We have great customers that are very loyal to us, that we're going to support us, and we were going to do the best we could to serve them. And on a business end, I feel very heartbroken and dismayed that there are many businesses that have only been operating for, say, 5 years or less, that are very, dependent upon the daily sales, to really carry them through, and that's tough to watch, Yeah. I know of the restaurants that are really, really struggling, and a lot of them just didn't make it, they're just not going to reopen.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's
very unfortunate.
And of course, and then people that have friends, that have lost parents or relatives, some younger, to COVID. I mean, it's definitely a shock to the system.
Yeah.
On the brighter side, you gotta have faith in the American system, and that we can come out with these vaccines now, and hopefully everybody's going to jump on the bandwagon and do the right thing and get a needle in the arm, and we'll be back to where we want to be soon. I'm
sure you guys adapted with partitions and the outdoor seating.
The outdoor seating. Well, if there's any upside to
silver lining,
if there's a silver lining, if there's a silver lining in the playbook, definitely the outdoor seating. When we started, years ago, people would always ask, do you ever think of putting tables outside?
Sure.
I was never too keen on it, to tell you the truth myself personally. I thought it would be too difficult. And concentrated on the customers indoors. But once we did have to put the tables outside, and we had to, there was no other way of getting around it. We needed to serve customers one way or the other. So turned out that we enjoyed serving customers outside. The customers loved eating outside. I've never seen such a. They really warmed up to it. I mean, I couldn't see not doing it ever again.
Okay.
I think it's will become a permanent fixture in the village. I've talked to the village trustees about that situation, and they seem to be on board with it, and I hope so, because the people really, really like it. And I've seen what the other restaurants are doing around town, and it's pretty classy, I have to say. They're doing such a nice job utilizing whatever little space they have outside.
Yeah.
And things are clean and neat, and the presentation is so nice, and it really looks lovely when you roll through town, especially at nighttime, and you see the restaurants and the bars, and they have little cafe tables outside. It's really, it adds to the village. It's definitely not taking anything away, that's for sure.
I agree.
I think it just totally added to the village, and I think it brought out the imagination in some of the owners, and some of the local pubs. They had to dream up of little bit of a theme for their outdoor dining or their outdoor imbibing, and it really I believe they did a class act.
Yeah.
They really made it nice. Now this is Babylon Village. We don't have to be over the top.
Right.
And it seems like we're not running a circus here, but it seems very classy, the way they've been coming out, and I'm in full support of it.
Cool. When I first started coming here, when things reopened and we were allowed to sit down and eat somewhere, I was very pleasantly surprised to see that you guys had the outdoor seating, and like many others, I warmed right up to it.
Oh yes.
Great,
Yeah.
And I think one of the good things about it is that because this town had, I guess, restricted outdoor seating, there wasn't a whole lot of space for it. So the places that do have it kind of in a minimal aspect, which is good, because I think it makes it a little bit more special that way. Mm-hmm. And
space is challenging.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen. And that's why I say the places that did, even with the little space that you have, they made it happen in a really nice way.
Mm-hmm.
As far and another item on the COVID, and as far as customers coming indoors, when we were finally allowed to have 50% occupancy on the interior, we had to put up the glass partitions between the booths, and we tried to keep everything as natural as possible. And no matter what my views are, or say somebody else's views are on the way that the government is running the pandemic, I know I couldn't do it. The most important thing to me is that the customers that do come, is that they feel comfortable.
Sure.
And that they feel safe, and that they're not in any harm's way. And when we wear a mask, and we don't wear a mask to protect our own health. We wear a mask to protect the other person's health.
Sure.
And that goes, you have to make people comfortable. And our senior citizens and people that might be compromised in their health and stuff, you got to go that extra mile. And as a community and as a country, to come together and protect our fellow man.
Yeah.
And regardless of, how we think things should be done.
Well said. What do you see, if anything, changing in the future, or how do you see things going for the next 30 years with Glen's?
Well, more of the same, I hope.
I agree.
Yeah, I'd like to keep the ball rolling. Chrissy and I, we plan on being here for quite some time, and I'm in no hurry to go anywhere.
Good.
And as far as downtown Babylon Village, I really hope it doesn't change all that much. You get new people, and people come of age, and and things, want things to kind of remain the same. You know? I look forward to seeing your video, your show, and I look forward to seeing the other restaurateurs on your show and the other small shops.
Yeah.
They're really doing a great job around town here. It's such a nice place.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun once again.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll all come together.
And get back to a state of normalcy, such as it was.
Yeah, normalcy. Or abnormal normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, you know, we had touched on briefly some stuff earlier. I had moved away. I lived in Nashville, Tennessee for almost 9 years, and I was gone for a while.
Oh.
And when I came back, one of the first places that I wanted to go was to come here.
Oh, thanks.
So I told the wife, I was like, well, we got to go see if Glen's is still there. If it is, we're sitting down at the counter.
Oh, that's nice.
And we've probably been coming here, you know, more than a few times a month since then. So.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah.
Definitely glad you're still here. Definitely hope to see you within the next 30 years for sure. And no plans for retirement anytime soon then, no?
Oh, no.
Good.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point, is that you say is about being a regular.
Yeah.
You know, there's regulars that come every day. There's regulars that come twice a day.
Wow.
You know, and then you have your regulars that come once a week, once a month, or a couple times a year.
Yeah.
But they're still regulars.
Sure.
You know, and that's a really nice thing when somebody comes in and you know, I have a gentleman that like salesmen that travel the country, and they say every time they come to New York, he comes to New York, he comes to Glen's Dinette, and that's great.
Yeah.
Or the other gentleman that he passes by on the LIE. You know, if you know the area, we're not that close to the LIE.
No,
but he's going from New York to, say, Riverhead, and he says, well, I'm on my way. I stopped down at Glen's, you know, and that's a really nice compliment.
Sure.
You know, when people come out of their way to show up here.
Yeah.
And it makes them really happy that we're here, you know.
Definitely.
So, yeah, I'm in no hurry to go anywhere.
Good. That's the best news I've heard in a long time.
Thanks. And like again, we congratulations to you on your show, and we look forward to seeing it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to do this with me. I really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it. And all right, signing off. I'll see you in the weekend for some Idaho.
Awesome.
All right, so I just want to say thank you again to Happy and Chrissy and the staff of Glen's Dinette, which again is an institution in Babylon Village. If you have never been here and you come anywhere near Babylon Village on Long Island, you have to stop in for breakfast or lunch or Sunday brunch here. It's absolutely fantastic. Everything on the menu is delicious. They will treat you like family, and you will probably end up wanting to come back again and again and again, like me, for over 30 years. And so many other people here, like Happy said, people that come once a week, once a day, twice a day. It's just, it's that kind of place. So get on down to Glen's, have a good bite to eat, enjoy this atmosphere and the people, and I'll see you on the next episode.